it's just like, I feel like every job out there is either break your body for 40 hours or break your mind for 40 hours. And it's just like, why do I have to pick from pee and poo, basically? Like, why does society have to be like this? And it's just been so hard to not be anxious and actually enjoy my day off, because I've just been feeling so much dread. Like, it doesn't really feel like a true break. Like, I feel like I don't get enough time to myself in this one little smidge of time. Like, I have to make the most of it, and it just freaking sucks.
First of all, I want to congratulate this sister right here, because the way she's feeling shows that she's still a human being. She's an empath like me, and that she is aware. She's aware of what her spirit is telling her about the real problem there is when working in the U.S. And I'm making this video because I want to let her and sisters like her know society does not have to actually be that way. Now, working for the divided snakes of the American corporation will be like that, where you have this feeling of dread. You can't relax even though you're off work. You can't seem to get your nervous system to calm down, because you know that you need to, go along to get along with people that you're not feeling at all. Especially working with retail jobs where you have to face the customers all the time. These jobs can be really draining, especially if you're the type of person that's a good person, right? And you don't like to live in the lie of the states. You know what I'm saying? You're friends with people because you're really friends with them. And you don't like to play friends with people who are not really your friends. Working in the US is a complete gimmick all in of itself, because they work you to the point where you're just used to working, and they don't give you enough time on purpose. They don't give you enough time to actually sit still, to be able to think about what you really want in your life, and to actually plan to make it happen. They work you so you have just enough energy to get some sleep and then to do it all over again. Even if you're given a day off or a couple of days off, it doesn't matter. The US does not reward rest. The US does not reward time to yourself. The time that you need as a human being for yourself. That's why a lot of people become robotic. It's like they get up, they do what they're supposed to do, and it's like they're physically there, like their body's there, but mentally and emotionally, they're not really there. Now, comment down below if you understand what that is. I had a manager one time, pretty cool manager, but it's like when you can tell when people are on autopilot, where they're just going through the motions and they're not really like cognizant. They're not really paying attention to what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? They're just on autopilot. They're at work. They're doing what they need to do. They go home and they, take care of that business. It's good that this sister here, she hasn't reached that point. She's young. She is single. Yeah, I think she's single. She doesn't realize how much opportunity she actually has yet. And this is why I make videos about international travel all the time. And I want to say to my Finding My Tribe fam, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Ronnie. I'm a 10-year expat. The first time I took my overseas trip, I went to Paris, and that completely blew my mind. And ever since then, I've been traveling overseas. And then I moved from the States 10 years ago. And I've been out ever since. So if you like what you see and you're feeling the vibe, then subscribe and join the tribe. This is the channel where we talk about all things international travel. We talk about deeper spiritual things, learning who we are, and trying to live our best lives, right? This is what we're about here. So back to the choices that this sister has. The fact that she is in tune with her emotions, and she's in tune with just feeling off in the US is a plus, and that'll work for her if she has the courage to kind of step outside of, I wouldn't even call it a comfort zone because she's not comfortable. She just needs to start looking outside the States.
Also, another thing I try to remind myself of to help me get through work is just the time's going to pass either way. Whether I have a good day or a bad day, the time's going to pass and the day's going to end and the day's going to be over, and I'm not going to be stuck there forever. Time is going to pass, weeks are going to pass, months are going to pass, and I'm going to be able to get to a point where I can say, I think it's a good idea now for me to start looking for something else, and a good idea to leave this situation. So I try to remind myself that everything is temporary, and to the point of feeling like I'm in school again, like feeling like those residual feelings of trauma from middle school and high school or whatever, and dealing with friendships, dealing with people, dealing with peers. Like, I just try to remind myself that I'm an adult now and I have freedom. Like, I have the ability to speak up now. Like, I have the ability to decide whether or not something is going too far for me, whether or not this situation is hurting me more than helping me. And I don't know, I have more power now. Like, I have to remind myself that I have more power and I have more coping skills. I have more tools to be able to get myself through these situations, and remind myself that, like, even though my body has stored all these memories and stored all these negative feelings, it doesn't mean that they're true. It doesn't mean that I have to pay attention to them necessarily. I just have to accept they're there and just move on and stop fighting them and stop asking myself, why am I still feeling this way? I'm still feeling this way because bad things happen to me. But I have the power to move forward. And even though it's not always going to be pleasant, and even though it's going to be hard sometimes, like, I know I can still do it.
And what I would recommend for her is to, because it's like she's still thinking about what she wants to do. She's not really sure. I talked about this before. World Packers. That is a platform that she and people like her. Like, if you're in that situation, if you're young, you're single, and you're just like tired of always feeling like you're swimming in a deep ocean trying to keep your head above water, and you want something different, you can check out the site. And this is a site where you can travel to different countries and you don't have a lot of money, no problem. Like, let's say if you want to tutor, right? So she can fly over to a country, Spain, somewhere that she wants to go. It doesn't matter. It's, she can go anywhere she wants. And she can stay with the family, and then she can tutor either adults or what have you. She can tutor, English, she can tutor math, whatever the family needs, in exchange for room, board, food, whatever else. So this is like an exchange program. So you stay with the family and you help them do whatever it is they need to do. So that can be tutoring, that could be social media. She's on social media, right? And there are plenty of businesses overseas that don't really understand how social media works, and she could come over there and do their social media, and they won't pay her cash. They'll pay her in where she stays and food. She won't have to worry about those expenses. If you're young and you're just getting started, this is a great platform. I'll make sure, instead of just talking about World Packers, I'll let you hear about it from a young Black woman who actually experienced it. Cortez Ross from the YouTube channel Move Abroad and Thrive interviewed his daughter Sky on her experience with Worldpackers. And here's what she had to say.
All right, everybody. Hey, I'm here with my daughter Sky. She is in Milan. How long have you been over there so far?
I've been here for almost 3 weeks now.
Yeah, how you liking it?
It's actually really amazing. Like, it really is. It's I don't know. It's definitely something that going into it, I didn't know how. I didn't think it would be this great, but it really is. Like, it's the language, the people, the food, the culture. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so yeah, go back, explain that program. What is it, and how could one get started?
So basically, it's called Worldpackers, and there are people pretty much everywhere, like in the world, like in Europe, in Asia, in South America, North America, everywhere in the world, where a lot of them want just in exchange for some of them are work. The family that I was at now recently, I was working at a family on a campsite, and all I did was for a few hours a day, just sat in the office and check people into the campsite, and then had the rest of the day off for free. So it's basically what it is. It's they just give you exchange for work or anything that they need. It can vary. It can be very different. Sometimes you could be working on a farm or babysitting pets or anything, and you do that for a few hours a day. They accommodate you with the 2 days off, and they pretty much give you whatever you really need. So, yeah.
Wow, so you had your own room, you had your own TV, internet, bathroom, privacy, and all of that.
Yeah, I stayed in a caravan, and so I had my own private bed, and I could shower whenever I want, use restrooms, internet, and a lot of them feed you 3 times a day. You have breakfast, dinner with them, and then it's also a good way to actually learn more about their culture, because because you don't know anything going in, and so when you're spending time with these people, it makes it, I don't know, you learn a lot, even about languages or about yourself, about other people, other cultures. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So here we have two young sisters. One is working in the States, struggling, dealing with all of the nonsense that the States has to offer. And the other is living overseas. She is living her best life in Milan, learning new languages, learning about culture, not paying for her food, not paying for her accommodation, and living her best life. Another platform I have to talk about also is Trusted House Sitters and pet sitting. Just a couple of days ago, I saw a pet sit, I think 6 months, 7 months, something crazy like that. So what petting is, you go to someone's house and then you take care of their one dog, one pet. I think this was the pet that she had was a pet that takes care of itself. Some type of, it wasn't a dog, it wasn't a cat, it was a small, I don't know if it was a lizard, I don't know what it was. Some small little animal that basically takes care of itself. And you can stay in this person's home, nice home, for free. And so what does that give you the opportunity to do? That gives you the opportunity to get out of the States, pull back from the nonsense. It gives you the space where you can think about what it is you want and start to plan your life. And it gives your nervous system the rest and the reset that it needs. Okay, so she has those options. I want to congratulate this sister once again for seeing that she does have power. And this is what I was saying before. She's young and she literally doesn't know that the whole world is in her hands. She doesn't have to accept the life that the U.S. has given her. On the other hand, when she's talking more about her feelings and that she's been hurt, and she acknowledges that, right? The one thing that I'll disagree with, and you comment down below and let me know what you think about this, but when bad things have happened to all of us, right? We've been mistreated in a certain type of way. You don't want to push down those feelings. You don't want to think that the feelings are not true, because they are. Your body is the one thing, it will not lie to you. Your body's not lying to you. It's important to respect, how you're feeling, how your body's feeling. Yes, you have to move on, but you have to be careful about the way you move on, right? So the way you don't want to move on is by pushing those feelings down and acting like you just have to get along to go along. No, you respect the fact that you're feeling the way that you do. You've been hurt by people, by situations, and the way you move on is to do something different. This is again why I created this channel, because my mind was blown the first time I went overseas, and that was way past 10 years ago. My mind was completely blown, and it was only 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, I basically found out that the U.S. was a lie. That's what I knew off top. I understood how little I knew about the world around me, and that the U.S. being the greatest of the greatest was a lie. That one trip taught me that. Her spirit is telling her that there's something very off, and there is a spiritual reason why she's feeling the way she's feeling. Like, things are not the way they used to be when I was growing up in the States. Now things are very different. We're living in a very different time period. We're living in a time period where you have ICE blowing people's heads off and just running amok with no education and guns in their hands. So it's very, very dangerous in the U.S., whether people want to admit it or not. And it's time to get out of there. And there's a spiritual reason why it's time to get out of there. The U.S., some people may not agree with this, but it doesn't even matter. The U.S. is Mystery Babylon. And I'm going to have some links below that you can click on that will give you a spiritual understanding, or the spiritual understanding you need to know what's happening in the U.S., why it's happening, and what you need to do. If you care about your life, your future, the links are in the description below. So make sure you click those links and find out the truth about things. There are probably a lot of you who are now realizing seriously that it's time to make moves and find a different way to be. And again, if you're young and single, the world is yours still. There are plenty of places you can go where the US dollar can stretch. Okay, it'll stretch still. But the time to make those moves is now. And I would advise that you do leave. So I'll leave the links down below to World Packers, to Trusted House Sitters, and also to some other links so you can get the spiritual understanding of why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Okay, get your questions answered, get that passport, and choose to live your best life. If you're looking for a remote job, or if you would like a consultation, I have the links down below for those as well. So that's all I have. Choose to live your best life. Acknowledge your feelings. The U.S. is now a very dangerous place to be. And it's just obvious. I don't have to list the reasons why. Everybody can see it. If you have eyes, if you have a mind to think, you see that it's time to go. This is Ronnie Light signing off. If you're feeling those feelings of something just isn't right, it's because you're right. And it's time for you to go where you glow.